Hey everybody, welcome to Get Busy Watching! I'm your host, Honest Dan. Let's talk movies. Welcome to my rapid fire for all the movies that I saw in March. I am still catching up. Well, let's hit it. Paul Atreides walks a complicated line while being allied to the Fremen, who wage a series of battles against the Harkonnens. The hype is real. Do I have my issues with it? Yeah, bitty ones. But it is a damn good movie. Issues out of the way, I feel like there are pacing issues regarding plot points. They're introduced and resolved almost too quickly for my tastes. This happens a couple of times, but I guess it's meant to serve a higher narrative purpose, so it's easy to forget and let live. Beyond all that, the scale of the conflict, the immersion of the world it's sucking you into, the characters and what's at stake for each of them and how not everyone is on board with this prophecy, and the performances from the main cast is outstanding. It's truly the first must-see. Why are people who never saw the first one now interested in seeing this one? Oh well, go see it! My honest rating for Dune Part 2, a strong 4 out of 5.
Because all my visions lead to horror.
Because you lose control.
Because I gain it.
A young wannabe toy designer's work visa is about to expire, and his only hope to avoid deportation is working for a strange art critic. I wanna like it more, but it gets a bit over the top and a little too full of itself sometimes. A lot of the zany visuals get a bit overdone, mostly by the third act when the novelty wears off. They're fun for a while and some visuals are trippy in a good way, but by the end, it didn't keep me engaged. The same goes for Tilda Swinton, who bounces between giving a great performance and an obnoxious one. The writing is consistently good. I always felt for main character Alejandro. The stakes were always clear and were the primary focus of his actions, which many movies don't always get right, and has solid points about general living in the US. Its heart is in the right place and I do respect it. I'm glad I did see it, but just the one time. My honest rating for Problemista, a 3 out of 5.
You think this lady can sponsor you?
I mean, we'll see.
We'll see. Whoa.
Adam Sandler is a lone astronaut whose only company is a giant space spider, voiced by Paul Dano. Wow, Sandler. This might be the best movie he's done since Reign Over Me. It doesn't even feel like this should have Sandler in it, as it's a fairly heavy self-reflective drama that almost seems primed to be a comedy. But Sandler gives it his all and is so convincing as he talks to this big CGI arachnid. The emotions may not hit as hard as I think the writing intended by the end, but it's a staggeringly restrained and subtle film. There are flaws. It's distracting that the main character's name is Jacob Prochaska and is very clearly not a Czech character. And of course, some of the comedy this tries to sneak in doesn't quite work. It's his best movie in years if you ask me. Not the best, but it's still worth checking out if you have Netflix. My honest rating for Spaceman, a strong 4 out of 5.
You wish to know if I am real. Are you? I am as real as you are.
A little girl discovers an evil haunted teddy bear that makes her do dangerous things and is somehow connected to her stepmom. It's not good, but Blumhouse knows how to entertain me with utter nonsense. The first 2/3 of the flick is routine haunted house fare. Little girl talking to herself, she gets increasingly weird about it, until it becomes hazardous and the stepmom is trying to help. The dad doesn't know any of this is happening, the teen sister is a jerk. You've seen all this before. But then there's a fun little twist halfway through, which I kinda liked, and then we visit this netherworld that's been hinted at, and things really amped up for me. The sets are mostly practical, cheap as all hell, but have a certain budget Halloween theme park feel to it that I adored. I won't argue with the negative reviews, but the charm of the final act kinda saved it for me. My honest rating for Imaginary, a strong 3 out of 5.
Every culture has entities that tether to the young. We call them imaginary friends.
Po the Dragon Warrior Panda is back. He journeys to a new city with a thief to stop a shape-shifting sorcerer from causing chaos. If the franchise ends here, it's for the best. It's not bad, it's just losing its flavor. The comedy doesn't hit as hard as it used to, outside of some fun banter between James Hong and Bryan Cranston. It makes sense that the Furious Five were taken out of the story to make room for a whole new character and keep the focus on Po and Zhen. But Zhen isn't an especially interesting character, despite Awkwafina giving a surprisingly earnest performance. Also, what with the appearances of all previous villains from both movies and presumably the show, only Ian McShane chimes in, which felt like a huge missed opportunity. It's underwhelming. I've seen worse, and it is worth seeing, but I think it's time to retire Po. My honest rating for Kung Fu Panda 4, a 3 out of 5.
You were chosen to become something more than you already are.
Mark Wahlberg is an adventure racer who wants one last glorious end to his career and befriends a stray dog along the way. As a movie, it's charming, feel-good, and inspiring, but it takes a lot of liberties. Michael Light was really Michael Linnord and Swedish. His teammates were all white, not mixed. The location was in Ecuador, not the Dominican Republic, among many other dramatizations. Many of them wildly unnecessary, as the race, as is, seemed to be dramatic enough without any need for fiction. Should have just made the whole thing up. But for what they did get right, the racing, the bond between Michael and Arthur, his illnesses, and the drama in the end, that was pretty close, if not understandably streamlined for pacing purposes. It'll make you cry, but the inaccuracies cripple it for me. Real shame. My honest rating for Arthur the King, a strong 3 out of 5 for making up too much.
Tom! What is it, boy? Oh. God. Can't believe I almost walked right off that cliff. Extra meatballs for you, my friend.
Two troublemaking teen boys get jobs working the snack shack at their local pool, but drama ensues when a girl comes between them. This will be forgotten about not long from now, and that is a crying shame. At first, it took some getting used to. The personalities of these boys and their lives wouldn't have felt out of place if this was an animated 90s cartoon. Fitting, since the story takes place in 1991. Thankfully, the writing is good enough that you eventually care about them and enjoy their shenanigans. I won't deny that the story is predictable, but even though you can guess at what will happen, it's no less impactful since the acting and chemistry between the actors is so good. By no means perfect. There are some small elements that I disagreed with, but the overall package is surprisingly heartfelt and even poignant. I hope word of mouth spreads like wildfire. I highly recommend this. My honest rating for Snack Shack, a 5 out of 5.
I'd fuck on it with ketchup, charging 75 cents more. That's fucking genius, dude. Hot dogs! Get your hot dogs right here!
Lindsay Lohan is jealous that her friend is marrying the guy that she likes. She makes a magic wish to switch places, but isn't happy. Say it with me, kids. Netflix rom-coms are just bigger budget Hallmark movies. There we go. The writing is as schmaltzy as it gets, and there's very little that can't be predicted in terms of how things will go and when they'll go in that direction. The acting is bland, no thanks to a script that doesn't help the actors in the slightest. Sure, the cinematography is pretty freaking sweet at times, and Lohan's charm and talent certainly keeps you wanting to see her, but nothing can save this cheese fest. Lohan deserves so much better. This is something you watch with your mom, nothing more. My honest rating for Irish Wish, a week 3 out of 5.
I love my wish! Come back! Please don't take it away!
Based on true events, Nicky Winton goes to Czechoslovakia to rescue kids from the threat of invasion from Nazi Germany. Damn! Not for the faint of heart, but this is a good-ass movie. It's been compared to Schindler's List, and for good reason. It's powerful, and the performances are stellar. Especially Hopkins, because of course, and Johnny Flynn, who plays the younger version of Winton. But the real scene stealer was Helena Bonham Carter as Winton's mother, who had a really fun scene. There are some creative decisions that I personally wouldn't have chosen, but that's nitpicking at its finest. So, take that criticism with a grain of salt. I'm sure some facts were left out, but keep that tissue box close by. My honest rating for One Life, a 5 out of 5.
Nicky, you must know we cannot save them all. You have to forgive yourself that.
Millie Bobby Brown is a princess sacrificed to a vengeful dragon and must fight for her life. The princess was better. Same movie essentially, but more enjoyably bad. Comparisons aside, this movie was boring more than anything. It takes way too long to get to the brunt of what anyone would want to see, action and violence with a dragon. But even once the dragon is revealed, there's very little action. All I got was a bunch of dark caves that I couldn't see jack shit in, or just a bunch of running from fire, or Millie screaming so much that I was screaming for her to shut up. Nothing about this plot makes any sense, and has a whole shitload of why do this or why didn't they do that moments. Love that Shora Agdashlu is the voice of the dragon, but I love very little else. My honest rating for Damsel, a 2 out of 5.
3 were taken. 3 must be given.
The Spangler family has relocated back to New York and faces legal problems, as well as the impending arrival of a demon god. I think this is better than Afterlife, but it's still not as good as it could be. There's more ghost busting. I appreciate that, and was my biggest criticism of the previous flick. I like the friendship between Phoebe and the ghost girl Melody. I even enjoy the new demon god villain. Paul Rudd is great, and even the original Ghostbusters have more to do this go around. But there's problems. I don't like how whiny Phoebe can get. The cast gets a little crowded, and not a lot of support characters were fun or memorable. And Kumail Nanjiani was unnecessary. And how they handle Melody later on is really lame and doesn't make sense. It has its problems, but it's still a fun time. And it's been a while since I've been able to say that. My honest rating for Ghostbusters Frozen Empire, a 4 out of 5.
We're the Ghostbusters. Can I tell you something else? What? Buster makes me feel good. It makes me feel good.
This Turkish film follows an Interpol agent tracking down her art thief ex-boyfriend without him knowing her occupation. Oh, it's not good. Yet another Netflix rom-com, but now it just has heist elements. I will say that I appreciate that Turkey knows it has pretty women and flaunts it. Star Ezra Bilgic is a babe, and the movie doesn't hide it. Thank you, Turkey. I wish we had that mentality in the United States. Beyond that, It's schmaltzy, the writing is so bad, and the acting can be so hammy. The directing is awful. Clearly, no one had training or experience with firearms, and there was definitely no choreographer on set to teach fight scenes, which were hilariously bad. And it ends in such a nonsensically cheesy way that I was grateful to see the credits roll. It's a 2 out of 5 movie, but the plunging cleavage of Ezra Bilgic kinda saved it for me. My honest rating for Art of Love, a weak 3 out of 5.
Yeni bir soyguna hazırlanıyorlar.
Olabilir.
Depoda plan yaptıkları yer.
Olabilir.
An Italian nun goes to America to help impoverished Italian children against American elites who hate them. Well, this was annoying. Where a compelling story rests, feminism gets in the way too often. I won't pretend it's constant. It's not. But you have lines and acting that scream modern cinema. And I doubt that this was how the real Cabrini spoke or acted. It takes its baffling liberties like Vittoria wasn't a real person, and the evil John Lithgow mayor wasn't real either. Though one could argue they serve a narrative and spiritual function rather than truth. All of this is a shame because it gets quite a bit right as far as I can tell. The acting, when not explosive, is committed and great. And when it's not a girl boss flick, the genuine moments are moving. It's not bad, but it has way too many flaws to overlook. I'd wait for a streaming service. My honest rating for Cabrini, a 3 out of 5.
It's a shame that you're a woman, Mother. You would have made an excellent man.
Men can never do what we do.
Sydney Sweeney is a young nun that suddenly gets pregnant at a shady-ass convent. I've seen worse, but it's unremarkable. I won't deny that Sydney Sweeney is giving her all to this performance. She helped produce it, but the script itself is bland as hell, which gives her very little to work with. Not knowing if this baby she's carrying is a blessing or a curse, but seeing as this is a horror movie, there was only ever one option. I admit some scenes are well played, but that's not a momentum that it ever keeps up with. It has some tense scenes, but the horror is pretty mid. The only truly stellar thing is the ending. That was the perfect mix of hilarious and creepy. Too bad that's not a descriptor for the entire thing. Not good, not recommended. My honest rating for Immaculate, a weak 3 out of 5.
It's a miracle. You are with child.
Justice Smith starts working for a magical company that makes white people feel good to make their own lives safer. Dude, my brain got grinded into atoms. What the actual fuck did I just watch? This magical group makes only white people comfy? What about all the other ethnic groups that have historically hated black people? No, not them, just white people. Okay then. Even when it's not about race, it's a boring ass rom-com that makes Hallmark movies look like Oscar contenders. I legit fell asleep for a few minutes, and it ends in a random ass tirade about how this dude deserves to live as a black person, which is never backed up by the rest of the movie. That 2.4 on IMDb is well deserved. Give it up for the whiniest movie of 2024! My honest rating for The American Society of Magical Negroes, a 1 out of 5.
That's why we fight white discomfort every day. Because the happier they are, the safer we are.
David Dastmalchian is a 70s late-night TV host that brings on a teen girl, who may or may not be possessed, on his show. This wasn't bad. One of the better found footage films that I've ever seen. It takes its time getting to where it needs to go, but it fills its time with sympathetic and interesting characters. Combine that with solid acting, it all works out really well. And it does feel like a real 70s talk show. The set, the costumes, it feels pretty authentic to the time period. While not the scariest flick on the market, the acting from Ingrid Torelli is appropriately uneasy. And when the possession happens, things get freaky. Impressively enough, when the skeptic character takes over, it gets no less wild. And that finale, mwah, ends perfectly. I adored this. Horror fans are in for a treat, so don't miss out. My honest rating for Late Night with the Devil, a 5 out of 5.
Ladies and gentlemen, please stay tuned for a live television first as we attempt to commune with the devil.
A squadron of Indian Air Force pilots wage an intense conflict with a terrorist from Pakistan. Top Gun, as made by India. It's weird at times, as well as enjoyably hammy. Oh, the tropes. A squad of close-knit pilots with egos bigger than Delhi, and manly men with chiseled jaws, heart-wrenching backstories, and deep pride in their country. It's all there in glorious cheese. Even the villain looks like an anime baddie. The action scenes are over the top and CG heavy, with equally epic music accompanying it, even in scenes where it's not quite needed. The only downsides are the random singing bits, the 2.5-hour runtime isn't earned, and the second half gets predictable. It has just enough elements that I love and find confusing. Viewer beware. My honest rating for Fighter, a strong 3 out of 5.
Shit! We're hit! We're hit! Shit! I don't dodge.
A terrible CG French cat and dog escape their cages at an airport and team up to find their owners that they think are in New York City. It's so ridiculous, and I have no idea if this was supposed to be made for adults or kids. Don't let the silly talking animals fool you. There's nudity in this thing. One scene and you don't really see anything, but a woman strips down and you see some side booba. Beyond that, I never got used to the animation of the animals. It's just not that good. Set that aside, the characters are kind of annoying, often repeating jokes that were never funny to begin with. I won't lie though, I loved the main bad guy, who seemed like a prototypical action hero, but as a villain. He was funny. The acting is fair, the story is meh. It's not the worst I've seen. Definitely aimed at younger kids, I think. Adults, God be with you. My honest rating for Cat and Dog, a weak 3 out of 5.
Ouais, ma soeur, comment t'es grosse? Je suis quoi? T'es grosse! Attends. Aïe!
This Polish rom-com follows Olivia, a woman brought back to her grandma's farm to help run it and finds romance with a rival. Oh my god, this was so bad, even for a Netflix rom-com, and that's saying a lot. The acting and attempts at physical humor is wildly over the top, to the point where I was legitimately confused. Was this trying to be a cartoon? The characters are dumb. Handsome dude lies about his identity, for some reason, and plays along with a situation that's just one big misunderstanding that could have been resolved with a quick explanation. All movie long. The side characters are annoying, no one's endearing. The closest thing to a redeeming quality is the cute baby goat, and the little girl whom I swear had all the best lines. Don't make me apologize to Hallmark movies, I don't have it in me. My honest rating for No Pressure, a 2 out of 5.
Ja sama tego nie ogarnę. Nie masz litości, dziewczyno.
This British underdog story follows this homeless dude who is recruited to play in the Homeless World Cup and find redemption. For sure, a feel-good movie that does enough right, but it could have been better. All the pieces are there. A down-and-out homeless dude wants to be a good dad to his daughter, but needs this competition to get his life together. He's arrogant, only about himself, and has to learn what it means to be on a team, with other dudes seeking some glory. All that is wonderful on paper, and the acting is committed from the cast, no doubt, but the writing does it no justice. So many of these elements aren't explored, and I didn't connect with these characters like the movie wanted me to. While I adore the ending, the feels didn't hit me all that hard. I wanted to like it more than I did. Admirable subject matter, but it could have had better writing. My honest rating for The Beautiful Game, a strong 3 out of 5.
We can't find South Africa.
South Africa is at the bottom of Africa, just underneath Botswana and Zimbabwe.
She's referring to the football team, Alva.
single mom wakes up, is informed that she died in an earthquake by other restless spirits, and can't cross over until she finds her son. Wow. From beginning to end, I was hooked. This was a beautiful story. Movies about death, when done poorly, have a tendency to depress me more than I already am. But this one feels life-affirming and is telling me that there is beauty in the unknown. The writing is wonderful, giving every character their own time in the spotlight to explain who they are and what their unfinished business is. I couldn't pick a favorite if I tried, but the Yakuza guy story was the first to choke me up and make me feel something. But not a single subplot was poorly done, and how they resolved the teen girl story is nothing short of brilliant. I adore this film. I got choked up so many times, so you bet I'm recommending it. My honest rating for The Parades, a 5 out of 5.
最後に見るよ。そのつまんなそうなヤクザ映画。
おお、そうこなくちゃおい。
A pair of bad kaijus want to destroy the world, and only the combined might of Kong and Godzilla can stop them. Not as enjoyable as other installments, but it's fun when it's fun, mostly. When giant monsters are beating the shit out of each other, that's when it shines, especially in the climax. The problem is that the fights that could have been really cool don't last long. An underwater fight with Godzilla and another kaiju? Sounds cool, right? Lasts a few seconds. Lame. Also, this is mostly a Kong movie rather than Godzilla. And as per usual with these things, Kong is the best character. Yeah, Rebecca Hall and Kaylee Hoddle have nice chemistry, but Kong steals the show. And the mini Kong. There are some awesome surprises, but it's a mixed bag. I still dig it for the most part. It's mindless entertainment, which is all I expected. My honest rating for Godzilla and Kong: The New Empire, a strong 3 out of 5.
Kong can't stop this on his own.
He won't be alone.
Liam Neeson is a retired Irish hitman. After killing a dude in a small terrorist organization, the rest come looking for him. Compared to most recent Neeson action flicks, this is one of the better ones, I think. It's no Taken, that's for sure, but Neeson plays his role earnestly, and you care about him trying to live an honest life in his twilight years. The only person who measures up to Neeson is evil Carrie Condon, who is a lot of fun to watch, as she feels like a pissed off abusive mother trying to keep her cronies in check. The climax gets a wee bit over the top, but I find it hard to be too mad when the ending is so satisfying. Not much to say about it. It's a Liam Neeson action flick. You're either in or you're out, right? My honest rating for In the Land of Saints and Sinners, a 4 out of 5.
She left me no choice.
Finbar Murphy's going to war. I'm not missing out on all the fun.
A pair of paramedics in New York do their thing on the mean streets. I hated this. Definitely one of the more unpleasant films that I've seen in a long time. It's basically a collage of what must be the most screwed up crap that paramedics have experienced, and trying to open the eyes of the common man of the fact. What it ends up doing is make paramedics look like incapable sociopathic jerks that will absolutely choose to not save you because they're gods and they decide. Yes, this is an actual line that a character says. The same character that steals heroin from the same dude he refused to save and let die. The movie is unrelenting in the dread it made me feel, and this 2-hour flick felt like 2 years. Maybe all this stuff has actually happened, but if that's all you're gonna show, then this ain't my cup of tea. My honest rating for Asphalt City, a 1 out of 5.
She just gave birth. Took some heroin for the pain. How's the baby?
Set in 1989, Kristen Stewart's sister is abused by her husband. Her girlfriend kills him. Kristen attempts to cover it up. Well, this was hard to summarize. It's alright, but I did feel disconnected and not all that invested. I feel like the issues crop up when Jackie, the bodybuilding girlfriend, does the deed. She barely knows main character Lou, but is willing to go off and commit murder on impulse, deserved or not. It seemed out of character, or not justified for her to be that involved, and I never recovered. Still, it's well written for what it is. Character reactions feel real when things spiral out of control. It makes sense. I also dislike the ending. It gets a bit too zany, seemingly out of nowhere. It probably has some deeper meaning, but hell if I know what it is. It's not my cup of tea, but it does just enough to keep me hooked. Wait for it on streaming though. My honest rating for Love Lies Bleeding, a strong 3 out of 5.
I'm gonna tell them everything you ever did.
FBI, open up.
Are you threatening me?
Yep.
That concludes the month of March. Stay tuned for April. Yep, I'm still catching up. In the meantime, thanks so much for watching, you guys. I really appreciate it. Have a great day. Stay safe and healthy out there. Hope to see you soon.